Hey guys, welcome back to the Content Creator Radio. My name is Jake Bryan, and today I have a special guest named Jeremy. Now, Jeremy is somebody that I actually trained myself to actually teach him how to shoot portraits and kind of transform what his photography was to what it is into now. And so now Jeremy's actually getting clients. He's been landing a lot of different jobs. He's worked with a lot of different people. He's actually worked with me on some of my jobs, like Jordan Kimball from The Bachelorette. He's worked with me for express shoots and a couple other things, but I don't want to talk too much in this episode. I would rather let Jeremy introduce himself. Before we get to that, I want to go over what we are actually talking about today. So today we're actually going to be covering how do you actually get that beautiful aesthetic Instagram feed, right? Now everybody kind of sees all these influencers things or photographers and they're like, well, I want this for myself. How do I get it for me? And we're all thinking like, how do we make this accessible for us and just regular people? Because me and Jeremy, before we were photographers, we all had our smartphones and it was all we had, right? So there has to be a way to actually make this accessible for other people. So that's what we're actually going to cover today. So I'm actually going to let Jeremy cover his story. Now, Jeremy, you've been a photographer for what? Three and a half years?
Yeah. Well, I really started to take pictures about 2 years ago now.
Okay.
Just about 2.
And so what would you say, what was your biggest passion or your motivation behind doing photography? What kind of got you started? Was there a certain event, something that happened or something clicked in your head and you were like, I want to go do this?
Well, I guess the passion really came from when me and my family went to the Grand Canyon.
Okay.
And I had my Samsung Galaxy S6.
Starting with your phone.
Oh, yeah. Go. And I was trying to get all those cinematic landscape photographer shots that you see of Horseshoe Bend and the North Rim of Grand Canyon. And the pictures were coming out all right, but I really wanted something better. And that's when it all began, and I started to dive deeper into more about cameras and the three basics of photography, ISO, aperture, shutter speed. Once I got that down, I started to push more at it.
Really? And so you said you started with your phone, right? You started taking pictures with your phone. You didn't have some sort of crazy camera yet, right? It was just
no, definitely
just starting with your phone, just okay, I want to go shoot something and just have fun with it. You were now you're into more landscapes and stuff.
Yeah.
I remember when I first met you, you were showing me all these photos on your phone. And at first, me as a photographer, I kind of had that mindset of that's actually kind of weird. I was like, you shot on your phone? Okay, cool, good for you. That's the way that I used to think. So I've had to completely change my mindset on that, as you can probably tell. Mm-hmm. And I think that's super cool. I think a lot of photographers think hey, I need to start with a camera. I have to be super professional about everything when I first start. And that's just not reality. No. And so you started with, you kind of saw landscapes, you saw mountains, you saw all these different cool things you wanted to shoot. What kind of happened? You said, okay, so you've been a photographer for 3.5 years, right? So what's happened between then and the time that we started working together? What's been happening? Have there been any advancements? What kind of events have happened? What have been some of the things that you've figured out that you've liked to do?
Yeah, so like I said, I started with my Galaxy S6, and I met back up with Jake after a few years, and I was showing him my shots, and then a few months after that we started working together, and I got what's a Pentax.
All right, we gotta stop there. We gotta stop on the meme. We got the Pentax.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
All right, so now I don't know if you guys know my story. I actually, when I first started photography, I didn't have anything but my grandma's camera. Now my grandma's camera, I literally would take the photo, and I actually could not see what I was shooting until after I shot. So I'd have to take a photo, look at it. I kid you not, I shot an entire wedding like this, and it was literally it was like hell. It was horrible. And so you told me you got a Pentax, and I remember the first time we ever shot together. That thing. Explain what a Pentax is and what was your experience with that?
Well, Pentax used to be one of the good name brands. I mean they're coming back though. They're really coming back with the I forget what the name of their new camera is, but it's really great. But I had a Pentax K3 Mark II.
Okay.
I used it for almost a year maybe, and then I started working with Jake, started working with you, and then you sold your Canon SL2.
Yep. And guys, by the way, I would highly recommend that. The SL2 is actually what I used.
Canon SL2 is so good.
Yeah, it's great for photo. It's great for video. It's got 60 frames on it, which not a lot of Canon like the lower budget ones have that. So I totally recommend that one. That's what I recommended to Jeremy when he first started. So if you guys want to check out some cool cameras and you're like, I'm just getting into it, you're not trying to drop a ton of money, SL2 or the T6i, those are both really good starter cameras.
T7 just came out not too long ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dang.
But I mean, I wanted to get a new camera because every single time I would autofocus, you would just hear the
Pentax, right?
on the Pentax, you would hear the it was so awkward because Jake's silent camera, he would autofocus and I'd be like, "Did you just autofocus?"
We were in
I was like,
Orlando.
I didn't know you could autofocus without having somebody 10 feet away from you staring at you.
Yeah, it was bad.
So he finally sold his SL2. So I went ahead and I was like, I'm buying your camera. So I sold mine, bought his camera. It's a crazy story. I ended up making a profit on selling my camera. But
But anyways,
we don't need to go into those details.
So you got the Canon SL2 and you start shooting with that. And so you've taken your Pentax shots, and when do you think your photos started changing? Like what was like the epiphany that you had in your head that was like, whoa, my photos completely changed? And how did you like start getting the ball rolling? Because obviously you were sitting there for what, 2-3 years, and you're kind of at the same spot. You kind of plateaued. And I think a lot of photographers, they're like, well, I've been doing this for a couple years. And I think that's where you were at. You were kind of just plateauing and not really advancing. So what would you say got you started in that right direction that kind of pushed you towards, okay, I need to start taking this serious? Because obviously no one's going to just upgrade their camera just to upgrade their camera if they haven't been advancing. So what do you feel like advanced you as a photographer to make you want to buy the Canon and start pushing your photography?
Yeah, I would say two things. The first would be to actually enjoy what you're doing and go at it as hard as you can and just be passionate about it. Go shoot out like on a weekly basis every day if you can, just to get the ball rolling. Then the next thing, I mean, once I saw you editing with your presets, I mean, that was game changing. I saw you click one button and your photos were beautiful. You'd have to change a few settings and boom.
Now I remember when I first talked to you, you kind of felt kind of weird when I first talked to you. I was like, what do you edit with? And you were like, what was it, like Snapseed or something?
Snapseed.
Right?
Well, if you're it's a good app, but there's no comparison to Lightroom.
Okay, but it's a good starter, right? Like it's a good starter. Yeah. But now we have resources to do it even faster. But anyways, you started on Snapseed, and what you had your Instagram. It's called Creation Leds. We were kind of joking about this earlier. We've started making fun of it every once in a while. But if you guys want to follow Jeremy, by the way, that's at Jeremy Reinhardt. Go check him out on Instagram because now his feed looks amazing. But I wanted to say as before, so you started off with Creation Lens, and I noticed, I think you were posting like every single day, like a new
every
photo,
day
and you were you got some followers, right? You got 200.
About 200.
Yeah, and now here's the difference between what Jeremy does and what I do. I have my personal page, and then I have my photography page. And Jeremy's other photography page actually started getting more followers than mine did because I wasn't posting. That just tells you that consistency really does help, guys.
Yeah.
The recommendation is actually 5 stories a day and then 3 posts a week. Those are actually like some of the best recommendations I can give you guys for organic growth on your page. Now, Jeremy, your editing style was very, how do I say it? Like cliche. It was very common. Like everybody's like anyone's post could look like that.
It was more of like the natural kind of look. Saying I was editing on Snapseed, so all you could do is the basic adjustments like exposure, shadows, blacks, contrast. You couldn't really adjust any of the colors and the details like that.
And I think the biggest thing that I realized with everything that was going on with your editing was that it seemed like, I think the hardest thing was you were actually exporting your photos, and it seemed like they were kind of coming out like a low res. And one of the things I've noticed is with these mobile apps that a lot of us use, like Airbrush, Snapseed, Visco, when it actually exports a lower res file, and it kind of starts looking up a little, what do you call it? Like pixely, kind of grainy when you blow it up on a big screen or you want to canvas it or whatever.
It would take that nice 1.8 aperture look, and it would kind of like, it would de-res it to make it look more pixelated.
Yeah, and it kind of drove me crazy. No. You'd post it and it wouldn't look as good. So maybe that's going to help you guys to be like, hey, maybe I'm editing on these platforms and maybe I probably shouldn't. Now, this is where it gets good, right? So we were talking about presets earlier. We were talking about one click of a preset completely changed your editing game. Now, you went from going from a natural look to what would you call it? You would call it your own style.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
when you started using presets, now there's a difference between a filter and a preset, okay, guys? So a filter is kind of like you slap it on there, and then you control if you have 100% of it or 0%. You can kind of slide that back and forth. Presets are completely different, right? You can kind of like go in there, and you can change the hue of the color, which means you can change like how orange or how yellow something is. You can change all the little different pieces about it. Like it's completely
literally everything.
Right. So if you say, hey, Jake, I don't really like the way you saturated that, you could literally just desaturate yourself, and then you could just use that as your own preset. You've created your own style.
Yeah.
Now,
Like we use the same presets. He likes them a little bit more saturated with more contrast. I like them a little bit less saturated with less contrast.
Right.
So I can change anything I want, but we use the same presets.
Right, and I think one of the biggest things is when you're editing. I remember my first wedding. I think I spent 20 hours editing that.
My goodness.
Because, and luckily you never had to go through that, but when I first started, I would literally make all these little looks, and then I would copy and paste them, and I'd be like, I hate it, and I'd restart over and over and over again, versus just using a preset as a foundation, and I could actually just literally go bam, and I could look at 5 or 6 or 7 different looks right at once and be like, okay, I like this one, and then just run with it. So your Instagram feed kind of went from like a natural, everything kind of, I don't know, it looked good, but it looked very natural. Like everybody's seen that. Everyone kind of wants that Instagram aesthetic. They want that, like we said before, how do you get that beautiful aesthetic feed on your page? So these presets kind of, what was kind of the aftermath after that? You kind of created your own style, and what kind of explained what happened after you got these presets?
So yeah, after I started using presets, I kid you not, 2.5 weeks after, that was about like 5 posts maybe, because I started posting very frequently.
How many you love your photos, guys?
A lot of people liked them, and about 2 weeks after I started using the presets, I got my first shoot.
Woo!
And
let's go! So exciting.
That same night, actually, I got a new camera as well. I was still using the SL2 for that shoot, but I was able to get the Sony A9, which is a fabulous camera. It's really amazing. But I did that first shoot, got some money from it, posted some more photos, and I see in my DM, hey, your photos are awesome. Can I have a shoot with you? And I was thinking, this is unreal. This is 3 or 4 weeks after I started editing with these presets, and I'm getting so many shoots. By now, and I've been using the presets for like 4 months now.
It's been almost like 6 or 7, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's been a little bit.
I've had like 6 or 7 shoots, maybe 8 shoots, and I've only been shooting with the presets or editing with the presets for 7 months.
And what I think is cool to point out here, guys, is that it literally took me when I first started photography, I had to start from scratch. Like I had no idea that presets even existed. And I was blown away. And I had to create my own. And at first they were really terrible. And then I'd learn something like, oh, this is amazing. I'd try a million different things. And it would take me like almost 100 hours just to make one preset. And then I'd want to buy a preset online. They were like $80 for like one preset. And they were super expensive just for like one. And I kind of like freaked out. And I was like, what am I supposed to do? And it took me forever to actually figure out my style because I had to feel like I had to create that from scratch. So what we see with Jeremy is that I spent almost a year and a half, and there's literally, it doesn't matter how long or how short of a time you've been doing it, because there's plenty of photographers out there that have been doing it for like 3 to 5 years, and they're like, I still haven't gone full time yet. And it's like, there's a reason behind that, because I think I see a lot of photographers now, they start their page and they're building their style, and it just does not look good. Like the skin tones look bad. They look unbalanced. They look like red and orange. I mean, we've seen a whole lot of stuff. We've seen a lot of like really bad like skin tones, and like people don't want to work with them. And these photographers are sitting there for like 3 years, and they never get to work. They never get to work as a full-time photographer because they don't have like the basics of photography down. Just like how do you edit like the skin tones? How do you get your skies, or how do you create it how you want? And obviously you don't want to make people look like aliens, but you want to have your own look to your photos, and you can either have that desaturated, like that can be a million different things, but everybody needs a place to start. And when you have a place to start that's in the right area, that really helps you like just get on track with your game and what you're trying to do with your style. And so I think everyone would agree that even if you just picked up a camera right now, I actually asked some of my friends that have iPhones, I was like, if I gave you a camera right now and you got to use these presets, how would you feel? They were like, dude, I would literally just love to do it because it works with just about any phone, any camera. And so I know you work with a camera, and I want to let you guys know that I actually made these available for the phone as well. It's literally super simple. You can just take your phone out, take the photo, import it into Lightroom, slap on the preset, and then boom, it's edited. It's like super simple, super easy. And as we've seen from Jeremy, you start getting things, you start being able to have your foundation for editing, and then all of a sudden you can possibly start getting jobs and you can have your style and stuff. And so what, you have your first wedding coming up, right? You have it coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, a couple months.
So you're going to be looking at about 1,000 photos probably.
I don't know, maybe 2,000. I take a lot of photos.
That's very true, very true. So like one of the presets, like what's the main preset that you go to? I've seen your feed a lot. What's the preset that you're actually using for your feed right now?
Yeah, so I was actually editing about 30 minutes ago, and I was editing with Sony theme.
Now it's also called the Dope Portrait now,
Yeah,
by the
Dope
way.
Portrait.
It's a little bit different now, but the Sony theme was the original idea.
I use that one a lot, and I also use Street Style a lot. I would say Street Style is more my style.
Yep, it's really fun.
It's very customizable. If you don't want it to be as warm, you can just slide the temperature dial all the way to the left and get that nice cool look to it, and it'll still look amazing.
Yep.
I've had to do that a lot, but I would say Street Style is possibly my favorite one.
It's one of my favorites too. And a little back, Street Style was actually the most painstaking one for me. I actually think I spent almost 100 hours. I started it in December. I think I started in November or December of 2018. And I was literally in the car. We'd be on road trips for 8 hours. And I'd be building and rebuilding. And I remember I'd get so frustrated, and I couldn't figure out how to build this preset because everyone wants to have like a look that works with every single one of their photos with their phone and their camera. So it's like, how do you create this? And it took almost 100 hours just to create that. And I could have bought it for $80. It would have been way easier probably. But I actually want to let you guys know this. So you're probably wondering, how do I actually get a hold of these things, and like how do I actually start using these right now? Because you can use them on your phone with your camera, and you can literally edit these right away on your phone or your computer, whichever one you prefer, and actually get these on your Instagram right now. So for today only, I'm actually going to be offering you guys a special offer. I actually created the ultimate preset pack, and I call it the ultimate preset pack because as we were talking before, we actually want to give everybody a foundation of where to start. Whether you like orange and teal with the Dope Portrait, there's actually an orange and teal one that kind of replicates what Sam Coulter, you know who Sam Coulter is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the guy with crazy drone shots and all that.
Super
So we actually modeled like an orange and teal look after him. And I've had a lot of different photographers try this out, and obviously feedback from people like Jeremy who've never used these before. Something like completely different. Jeremy had no idea what these were, and he was like, whoa, my photo's edited, like I'm done. Like, you know, I'm like, no, you should probably tweak it a little bit. But he was like, whoa, this is crazy. Like,
joke around, slide the contrast all the way.
Yeah. But anyways, the ultimate preset pack will actually give you all the foundational presets that you need, and obviously you don't probably want to pay $80 per preset, right? Now you're probably thinking, how do I install these on my phone? Well, guess what? I even created installation videos for not only your phone and your desktop, but I even put together a little mini shoot so you can actually shoot an entire photo shoot with just your phone. The shoot and the editing, and you can export and put them into a gallery, and I literally make that super easy, all within the free app of Lightroom, because everybody thinks, okay, I have to pay for Lightroom and I have to get like the Adobe app and all that stuff. No. It's literally the free version of Lightroom. You can actually get the presets on your phone.
Yeah.
So for right now, I actually have the preset at $47 right now. If you guys want to go, if you're on YouTube, click the link below.
It's a great deal.
Yeah, $47 for all this stuff. I actually made Jeremy pay for the other presets individually. So Jeremy paid a little bit more than all you guys are having to pay. So,
but hey, I made all that money back in a blink of an eye.
It's true. And so if you guys were able to make more clients from this, would it be worth it? Yes. So it's only $47 right now, but I'm even including the installation videos and a whole bunch of other things like passive income online. Me and Jeremy have actually worked on these together to make sure people like Jeremy and myself who have been doing it for either longer or short amount of time in the business, we actually created these together to make these for you guys to be able to actually understand and become better photographers. And if you just shoot with your phone, perfect. These are going to be awesome for you and just a whole bunch of information that you're like, whoa, this is so sick. And I would even challenge you. I bet you can make money from a photo shoot on your phone if you just follow the little tips and the tricks that we did in the video. It's super cool. It's super sick. I'm going to actually link it down below. I believe it's jakebryanproductions.com/ultimate preset pack. If you guys want to go check that out, it's jakebryanproductions.com/ultimate preset pack. So go ahead and check that out, guys. I'm super excited for what you guys think about it. Give me some feedback. Be super excited to see what you guys think of it. I want to see your photos. We actually started a hashtag called JakeBryanPresets.
Dude.
Yeah, I know, right?
So I gotta add those.
Yeah, so now we gotta start posting on Instagram and putting those. But that way we can see like who's putting all these like presets together and making all these looks. because I want to see your guys' Instagram feed before and afters.
Yeah, we got to create a Jake Bryan community.
Right? I'm super excited. Yeah, there's some more cool stuff coming. But anyways, go ahead and check that out, guys. Go check out that link. I'll have that available. Go ahead and check that out. Like I said, go ahead and check out Jeremy's Instagram at Jeremy Reinhardt. And they can still see your old photos, right? How your feed actually used to look, right?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, so go ahead and go check out Jeremy's feed. If you don't believe me, if you don't believe Jeremy, go look at his feed before. You'll see immediately it goes from like this very green natural, because you're more of a landscape kind of guy, right?
Yeah.
It's very landscape, very green, and then all of a sudden it's just boom, new style. Like this is Jeremy's style. And over time, it's going to get better. It's going to get better, and you're probably going to look back in like 6 months and be like, oh gosh, I can't believe I used to edit that way. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning into the Content Creator Radio. Thank you, Jeremy, for coming on today.
Yeah, no
I'm
problem.
super excited. But I will see you guys on the next episode. Peace. Hey guys, just want to say a quick thank you for checking out the Content Creator Radio. If you enjoyed today's episode, go ahead and click that like and subscribe button and listen on all your favorite platforms like Spotify and Apple Music. Until next time, I'll see you in the next podcast.
I swear I like your style. Put you in Chanel cause it's just perfect for your smile. Girl, I swear for you I'd run the world, I'd run the miles. The way you